In a quiet corner of the Andros galaxy, there lived a small alien named Nira. She belonged to a gentle race called the Lumians. The Lumians were known across many star systems for their glowing skin and calm nature. Their world, Lunora, was a peaceful planet filled with floating cities, silver seas, and tall crystal towers that touched the clouds. The skies of Lunora never stayed still. Stars moved slowly like drifting lights, and the air shimmered with soft colors. It was a place of beauty and harmony, yet Nira often felt alone. Nira was smaller than most Lumians. Her glow was soft blue, unlike the bright gold of others. When she walked through the floating markets or the quiet gardens, people greeted her politely but often passed her by. The males of her kind did not pay much attention to her. Some said she was too quiet. Others said she was too small to stand out. Nira smiled whenever someone spoke to her, but deep inside she felt invisible. As years passed, Nira watched her friends find partners. She saw them build small sky homes, share dreams, and travel together. Every time she attended a celebration, she hoped someone might look her way. But no one did. Her light began to fade little by little. One night she sat by the silver sea, watching the stars move across the sky. Her mother joined her and gently said, "My dear Nira, you have a kind heart. Sometimes love hides in the places no one expects. Follow the stars and they will guide you to where you belong." Those words stayed with her. The next morning, Nira made a decision that would change her life. She sold her small skypod, packed her few belongings, and bought a tiny spaceship called the Glint. It was not fancy, but it was strong and safe enough for one traveler. Before she left, her mother placed a glowing stone in her hand. "Keep this," she said. "It will remind you of home when you feel lost." With a hopeful heart, Nira left Lunora. She traveled from one planet to another, meeting beings from many worlds. Her journey began with excitement. On the world of Vereen, she saw cities made of glass where tall beings with wings used songs to control the wind. On Torah 9, she saw glowing rivers running through metal forests that sang when the breeze touched them. On Silva Prime, she walked among silver trees that could speak in whispers. Everywhere she went, she hoped to find someone who would understand her, someone who would see her gentle heart. But every time she met someone new, rejection followed. On Vereen, a tall winged being smiled at her but said softly, "You are kind, but too small for our kind." On Torah 9, a glowing river being told her, "Your light is beautiful, but it is too dim to match ours." Even among the Sylvans, a kind race who welcomed strangers, she was told she looked too different. At first Nira laughed it off, pretending it did not hurt, but every rejection left a small scar on her heart. As months turned into years, Nira's excitement turned into sadness. The stars outside her window no longer looked as magical. Her ship felt quieter. Her laughter faded and her once bright glow dimmed to a pale blue. She often sat near the control screen, staring at the endless sky, whispering softly, "Maybe there is no one for me." One evening, while traveling near the Outer Ring Nebula, her ship's sensors picked up a faint signal. It was weak, almost lost in the noise of space. She leaned closer to the screen and saw a message repeating again and again. "Human ship, damaged, need help." Nira's eyes widened. She had heard about humans, but had never met one. Humans were new to interstellar travel. Many alien races thought of them as curious and unpredictable. Some said humans were too emotional. Others said they were brave. Nira had no opinion. She only knew that this message came from someone in need. Her hand hovered over the navigation switch for a moment. She could ignore it and move on, as many travelers would. But then she remembered her mother's words. "Follow the stars and they will guide you." Her heart whispered that maybe this was one of those hidden paths her mother had spoken about. Without hesitation, she changed her course and followed the signal. The Glint moved through clouds of colorful gas. Bright blue light filled the cabin as she entered the nebula. After a few hours, she saw it. A small human ship drifting slowly, half damaged, spinning without control. The name painted on its side read Aurora 5. Smoke floated from its engine and the distress signal blinked weakly. Nira quickly prepared her ship for docking. Her small hands moved over the control board with care. Once her ship connected, she took her oxygen mask and entered the human vessel. Inside, the lights flickered and wires hung from the ceiling. She could hear the faint sound of breathing. Her scanner showed only one life sign. Following the reading, Nira found a man lying near the main console. His face was pale and his eyes were closed. His suit was torn, and there were scratches on his helmet. Nira's heart started to beat faster. She had never been this close to a human before. He looked different from any being she had met. No glowing skin, no wings, no silver eyes. Yet there was something calm and warm about his face. She knelt beside him and touched his hand gently. It was cold, but she felt a pulse. She quickly repaired his suit and used her small healing device to balance his oxygen levels. Slowly, the man opened his eyes. He looked around in confusion, and then focused on her. For a moment, they just stared at each other. His eyes were soft brown, full of life and gratitude. "You saved me," he whispered. His voice was weak but calm. Nira smiled shyly. "You can call me Nira," she said. "I was passing by and found your signal." He tried to sit up but fell back gently. "I'm Liam," he said slowly. "Thank you, Nira. I didn't think anyone would find me here." "You are safe now," she said kindly. She helped him sit and gave him some water from her supply. They sat together in silence for a while. Through the window, the stars of the nebula glowed softly, painting the cabin in shades of pink and blue. Nira looked at the human beside her and felt something strange inside, a warmth she had never known before. It was not pity or simple kindness. It was a connection, quiet and real. Liam looked at her glowing skin and smiled faintly. "You are beautiful," he said softly. Nira blinked in surprise. No one had ever said that to her before. She turned her face away, feeling her glow brighten slightly. "Thank you," she whispered. For the first time in her long journey across the galaxy, someone looked at her not as strange or small, but as someone who mattered. The emptiness she had carried for years felt lighter. She did not know what would happen next, but she felt that the stars had finally guided her to the right place. Outside, the glint and the Aurora 5 floated side by side, two tiny lights in the endless sky. And inside, two lonely souls from different worlds shared a quiet beginning under the glowing colors of the nebula. After saving Liam from his broken ship, Nira carefully guided both vessels out of the nebula. The colorful clouds slowly faded behind them as her small ship, the Glint, carried them toward safety. Liam sat quietly in the co-pilot's seat, still weak but awake. He looked around at the soft glowing lights that filled the cabin and the gentle hum of the engines. Nira's ship was simple, but beautiful in its own way. Every surface was smooth and clean, and small plants grew in glass bubbles near the control panel. The air smelled faintly of mint and silver dust. Nira moved with quiet grace, checking the controls while glancing at Liam now and then. "Are you feeling better?" she asked softly. Liam nodded slowly. "Much better, thanks to you." "I owe you my life," Nira smiled shyly. "You don't owe me anything. I just did what felt right." Liam leaned back and looked out the window. "It's strange," he said. "When my ship was falling apart, I thought I'd never see another living soul again. Then I woke up and saw you glowing like a star." Nira laughed lightly. "We Lumians shine when we feel strong emotions. I was nervous when I saw you, but also curious," he smiled. "Well, your light is beautiful." Those words made Nira's heart skip. No one had ever said that to her before. She had heard polite compliments on her glow from strangers, but never with warmth like this. For a moment, she didn't know how to reply, so she just looked away, pretending to focus on the navigation screen. They traveled quietly for a while. Liam watched the stars outside, and Nira guided the ship with steady hands. The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable. It was calm, as if both of them were learning how to exist in the same space without words. After some time, Liam asked, "Where are we going now?" Nira looked at him. "I'm heading to a small trade station near the moon of Irelia. They have medical supplies and a repair dock. We can fix your ship there. We? Liam repeated with a small smile. Nira tilted her head. You can't fix it alone. Besides, I am not leaving until I know you're safe. He nodded. Then I'm lucky you found me. As the glint entered a calm region of space, Nira set the ship on autopilot. She stood up and walked to the small food unit. You must be hungry, she said. I don't know what humans eat, but I can try. Liam smiled faintly. If it's not glowing or moving, I'll give it a try. She prepared a light meal made of soft fruit-like cubes and warm liquid that smelled sweet. Liam tried a small piece and smiled. It tastes like peach and honey, he said. Nira sat across from him, amused. It's called loom fruit. It grows only on Lunora, my homeworld. Tell me about Lunora, Liam said, leaning forward with interest. Her eyes brightened as she spoke. It is full of floating cities above silver seas. The air is always warm and the stars never stop moving. At night, the whole sky glows. We use light to talk, to build, to grow. Our homes shine with our own energy. She paused and smiled softly. It's a quiet world. Peaceful, but sometimes too quiet. Liam listened closely, watching her as she spoke. Her voice was calm and melodic, and her eyes reflected the stars outside the window. It sounds beautiful, he said. Why did you leave it? Nira hesitated. Her glow dimmed slightly. I wanted to see the galaxy. I wanted to meet new beings and find where I belong. He tilted his head. Did you find it? Not yet, she said. Most people I met thought I was too small, too quiet, or too different. Sometimes I think maybe I don't fit anywhere. Liam looked at her with gentle eyes. Maybe you just haven't met the right person yet. Nira smiled faintly. Maybe. They talked for hours as the ship drifted through the calm darkness of space. Liam told her about Earth, about the blue oceans and green forests. He described sunsets, laughter, and music. Nira listened like a child hearing a story for the first time. Your planet sounds so alive, she said. It is, Liam replied. But it's also noisy and sometimes lonely. People are always chasing something, work, success, or dreams. I came to space to find peace, but I didn't expect to crash in the middle of nowhere. Nira looked at him thoughtfully. Maybe the stars led you here for a reason. He smiled at her. Maybe they did. After a while, Liam began to feel sleepy. Nira guided him to a small resting room in her ship. The walls shimmered softly, giving a feeling of comfort. You can rest here, she said. You need energy to recover. Liam lay down on the bed and smiled up at her. You're too kind, Nira, she smiled back. Kindness is the easiest gift we can give. When he closed his eyes, she stood for a while, watching him. The soft light from her skin filled the room. Something inside her heart felt different. She had met hundreds of beings across the galaxy, yet none had made her feel the way this human did. He had looked at her as if she truly mattered. As she returned to the control room, she thought about all the rejections she had faced. Every time she had been told she was too small, too plain, or too quiet, it had built a wall around her heart. But now, a single kind word from this human had begun to break that wall. Hours later, when Liam woke up, they were close to Irelia's orbit. The moon was pale and surrounded by glowing rings. The trade station appeared like a bright circle in space filled with ships of all kinds. Nira guided the glint toward a docking bay. When they landed, she helped Liam stand and gave him a small mask to help breathe in the mixed air. As they stepped into the station, curious eyes turned toward them. Humans were rare here, and many aliens stared in quiet surprise. Liam walked beside Nira proudly. When someone whispered, he simply smiled. Nira felt nervous under the stairs, but Liam's calm presence made her feel safe. Together, they reached the repair bay. A tall silver alien greeted them and began checking Liam's ship. It will take 3 days to fix it, the alien said. Liam nodded. That's fine. During those days, Nira showed Liam around the station. They explored glowing markets, floating cafes, and music domes where sound waves formed patterns in the air. Everywhere they went, people looked at them curiously, but neither of them cared. They were too busy talking and laughing together. One evening, while they watched the rings of Irelia from the viewing deck, Liam said, You know, I've traveled to many planets, but I've never met anyone like you. Nira looked at him quietly. Because I'm strange? He shook his head. Because you're genuine. You don't try to be someone else. You just are, she smiled gently. And you don't treat me like I'm strange. That's because you're not, he said. Nira turned her gaze to the stars. Her glow brightened softly. "Maybe this is what my mother meant," she said. "She told me that love hides in places no one expects." Liam smiled. "Then I'm glad you found me." She looked at him and nodded. "And I'm glad I did." In that quiet moment, the space around them seemed to fade away. The stars shone brighter. The rings sparkled softly, and Nira felt warmth spreading through her small heart. For the first time in her life, she wasn't just a lonely traveler in the galaxy. She was someone who had been seen, truly seen, by another soul. As they stood side by side under the endless sky, neither spoke again. They didn't need words. The silence between them was full of meaning, full of light, and full of something new that neither of them yet understood. 3 days passed quickly on the Aurelia station. The small moon rotated slowly, and its shining rings sent soft light through the large glass windows of the station. Every morning, Nira and Liam met near the same corner cafe that served warm drinks made of sweet vapor. They sat by the window and watched the stars while talking about their worlds, their dreams, and their past. Each day brought them closer. Nira found herself laughing more than she had in years. Liam's stories about Earth fascinated her. He spoke of rain falling on rooftops, of children running through green fields, and of cities full of lights and sounds. Nira listened with wonder, imagining the beauty of a world so full of color and life. In return, she told him about Lunora, the glowing seas, the sky gardens, and the quiet temples where light was used to heal sadness. Liam often said that he wished he could see her home someday. "Maybe you will," she said one day, smiling softly. "If the stars wish it." When Liam's ship was finally repaired, the station's mechanic came to tell them that Aurora 5 was ready for flight again. Liam thanked the worker, but when the moment came to leave, he didn't look happy. He stood beside Nira in silence, watching his ship float outside the docking bay. "So I guess this is it," he said softly. Nira tried to smile, though her light flickered faintly. "Yes, you can return to your people now." Liam looked at her. "I could, but I don't really want to." She blinked in surprise. "You don't?" He shook his head. "Earth is home, but it doesn't feel like it right now. Out here I found something I didn't expect. I found peace and I found you." Nira felt warmth rise inside her chest. Her glow brightened slightly, painting the metal walls around them in soft blue light. She lowered her gaze and said, "You have a kind heart, Liam. But humans and Lumians are very different." He smiled. "Maybe. But different doesn't mean impossible." Nira stayed silent for a while, looking out at the stars. She wanted to believe him, but memories of rejection whispered in her mind. All her life, others had told her she was too small or not bright enough. Could someone from another species truly care for her? Before she could say anything more, an announcement echoed through the station. "Warning! Solar storm approaching. All ships must remain docked until further notice." Liam looked at Nira with concern. "That doesn't sound good." "It means we are stuck here for a while," Nira explained. "The storm will pass in a few days. We will be safe inside the station." A soft laugh escaped Liam's lips. "Well, then the stars want us to spend more time together." Nira smiled gently. "Maybe they do." They decided to use their time to explore the deeper parts of the station. There was an observatory dome at the top level, where visitors could see the whole nebula system. When they entered, the wide glass ceiling opened to the endless sky. The storm had already started far away, and waves of light were spreading across space. It was breathtaking. The colors of the storm danced like ribbons of gold and violet. Nira stood close to the glass, her blue light reflecting in it. Liam came beside her and said, "It's beautiful, but not as much as what I see right now." She looked at him curiously. "What do you see?" He pointed to her reflection in the glass. "You." Her glow flickered again, this time brighter than before. She turned away quickly, trying to hide her smile. "You speak kindly, Liam." "It's the truth," he said softly. "Back on Earth, people talk about light as a symbol of hope. When I see your light, I feel that same hope." His words touched something deep in her heart. No one had ever said such things to her. She had traveled across galaxies, meeting countless beings, but none had ever made her feel truly seen. For a while, they stood together, watching the storm. The sound of soft vibrations filled the air as energy waves passed around the station. Nira's small hand rested near Liam's, and for a moment their fingers brushed. She quickly pulled away, unsure how to react. Liam didn't say anything. He simply smiled and continued to look at the sky. That night, when they returned to the glint, The power inside the station flickered for a few seconds. The lights dimmed and Nira's soft glow became the only light in the cabin. Liam looked around, then at her and smiled. "Your light is stronger than all the lights in this station," he said quietly. Nira shook her head, but her voice was gentle. "It's only strong because you make me feel safe." Liam's eyes softened. "You've been traveling alone all this time, haven't you?" She nodded. "For many years. I thought I could find happiness by exploring the stars, but I only found loneliness. Until I met you. The silence that followed was full of meaning. Neither spoke for a long time. The hum of the engines filled the air as they sat together, both lost in thought. The next day, the storm outside grew stronger. The station's windows glowed with electric light, and travel between sections was restricted. Nira and Liam stayed in her ship most of the time, sharing stories, laughter, and small meals. Each hour made them feel closer, and the distance between their worlds began to fade. At one point, Nira took out the glowing stone her mother had given her before she left Lunora. She held it carefully and said, "My mother gave me this when I decided to travel. She said it would remind me of home." Liam looked at the stone with wonder. "It's beautiful. What does it do?" "It glows brighter when I feel peace," she explained. "For a long time it was dim, but lately it has started to shine again." He smiled. "Maybe it feels what you feel." Nira looked at him with a soft expression. "Maybe it does." Later that evening, when the power returned to normal, Nira and Liam went back to the observatory. The storm was beginning to fade. The ribbons of color slowly turned into calm waves of blue and silver. "It's almost over," Liam said quietly. "Yes," Nira replied. "The storm will pass soon." They stood side by side once more. The stars shone brighter now that the storm's light was fading. Liam turned to Nira and said, "When this is over, I don't want to just go back to Earth and forget everything. I want to keep traveling, maybe even see Lunora." Her eyes widened slightly. "You would travel with me?" "Why not?" he said with a gentle smile. "You saved my life, and you showed me more kindness than anyone ever has. I'd like to see your world and learn about your people." For the first time in her life, Nira felt truly happy. Her light filled the room, reflecting off the glass and dancing on Liam's face. She looked at him and said, "Then maybe the stars brought us together for a reason after all." Liam nodded. "I think they did." As the last waves of the storm faded into silence, the two of them stood watching the calm sky. Nira's blue light blended softly with the golden light of the stars. It was a sight so peaceful that even time seemed to pause. In that quiet moment, Nira knew something had changed inside her. The emptiness she had carried for years was gone. The sadness that once followed her like a shadow had disappeared. What remained was warmth, peace, and something new, something she had once believed she would never find. It wasn't just friendship. It wasn't just gratitude. It was something deeper, something pure, something that could grow into love. As the stars watched over them, two souls from different worlds stood together, bound not by race or light or sound, but by understanding and hope. When the solar storm finally ended, calmness returned to the galaxy. The stars once again shone clearly through the windows of the station. Ships began leaving the docks one after another, but Nira and Liam did not hurry to go. They spent one last morning on Irelia Station, walking through the quiet corridors where their laughter had once echoed. Every moment felt special, as if both of them knew that this time together was something rare. Liam looked out at the open space through the glass wall and said, "It's strange how peaceful everything looks after a storm. It reminds me that even in life, calmness comes after trouble." Nira nodded softly. "The stars teach patience. They wait for millions of years before they shine at their brightest." Her words made Liam smile. "You always make everything sound beautiful." Nira looked down shyly, her soft glow brightening. "You just listen differently than others do." Later that day, they prepared to leave. Liam decided not to travel back to Earth just yet. Instead, he agreed to join Nira on her ship to visit Lunora, the glowing planet she had described so fondly. It would take several days to reach it, passing through colorful nebula routes and hidden star tunnels. Nira felt both excited and nervous. She had never brought anyone home before, and the thought of showing a human her world filled her with curiosity and a little fear. Once everything was ready, Nira's small ship, the Glint, Slowly detached from the station, the engines glowed softly as they entered the open galaxy. Liam watched through the window as Irelia faded into the distance. "Goodbye, little moon," he whispered. "Thank you for the memories," Nira smiled. "Now the real journey begins." The ship moved through silent stretches of space where only the hum of energy could be heard. Nira sat at the front control seat while Liam observed the navigation map. Tiny lights blinked across the screen showing their route. Every once in a while, Nira explained something about the systems they passed. Stars that sang, planets that floated like bubbles, and energy storms that danced in rhythm. Liam was fascinated by her knowledge. "You really know your way through the galaxy," he said. She smiled faintly. "Travel teaches you more than any school can. I used to get lost all the time when I first started. But the stars have a way of guiding those who listen." During the long flight, they spent time talking, laughing, and sharing stories. Nira taught Liam a few words in her language, and he tried to pronounce them. Some came out wrong, making her laugh until her light flickered brightly. In return, he taught her a few Earth songs, simple ones about love and hope. She listened carefully, repeating the words in her soft melodic voice. One night, as the ship drifted near a cluster of glowing asteroids, Nira dimmed the cabin lights. The view outside was breathtaking. Thousands of crystals floated in space, shining like diamonds. The light reflected on her skin, making her glow even brighter. Liam watched her quietly, admiring how she looked like a part of the stars themselves. Nira noticed him staring and asked softly, "What are you thinking?" He smiled. "That I've seen many beautiful things in my life, but nothing like this." She tilted her head. "The stars?" He shook his head. "You." Nira's glow brightened again, and she looked away shyly. "You always say things that make me feel light inside. Maybe it's because that's what you bring to me," Liam said warmly. For a moment, silence filled the cabin. The stars continued to shimmer outside, and their reflections danced across their faces. It felt as if time had slowed, leaving only the two of them in the vastness of space. After several more days, Lunora finally appeared ahead. The planet shone like a blue pearl, surrounded by floating rings of soft silver mist. From far away, it looked peaceful and welcoming. Nira's eyes filled with emotion as she saw her home again. "We are here," she said quietly. Liam stood beside her, amazed. "It's more beautiful than I imagined." As they entered the planet's orbit, they passed through glowing clouds that shimmered with energy. Below, floating cities sparkled like lanterns on the sea. The silver waters reflected the sky, and creatures with luminous wings glided above the waves. Nira guided the ship toward her home city, a place called Saloon Haven. The landing platforms were built on transparent glass, and light energy flowed beneath them like rivers. When they landed, a group of Lumians approached to greet her. They looked surprised to see a human stepping out beside her. "Welcome home, Nira," one of them said kindly. "It has been many cycles since you left." Then their curious eyes turned to Liam. "And who is your companion?" Nira spoke softly but proudly. "This is Liam. He is from a distant world called Earth. He helped me on my journey, and I wanted to show him my home." The Lumians exchanged surprised looks but smiled politely. "You are welcome among us, human," they said. As they walked through the city, Liam could not stop staring. The buildings looked as if they were made of glass and light. Bridges glowed under their feet, and gentle music floated in the air. Every citizen's glow added color to the world. It was a living painting full of peace and beauty. Children ran by, their small bodies shining in bright colors. Some stopped and stared at Liam curiously before giggling and running away. Nira laughed softly. "They have never seen a human before." "I don't mind," Liam said, smiling. "They look happy." Nira led him to her old home near the floating gardens. It was a simple place with open walls made of light glass. Inside, her mother was tending to glowing plants. When she looked up and saw Nira, her eyes filled with joy. "My little star," she said warmly. "You have returned." Nira hugged her gently. "Yes, Mother. And I brought someone special." Her mother turned to Liam and studied him quietly. "A human," she said thoughtfully. "It is rare to see one here." Liam bowed politely. "It's an honor to meet you, ma'am. Your world is beautiful." The older Luman smiled. "And you have good manners. That is rare in the galaxy." She looked at Nira with affection. "You always did have a kind heart. I see it has guided you well." That evening, Nira and Liam sat near the glowing sea. The waves sparkled like stars fallen from the sky. The air was calm, and the sound of soft singing floated from nearby homes. Liam looked at Nira and said, "I can see why you miss this place. It's peaceful," Nira smiled. "It is home. But it feels different now, maybe because I'm not alone anymore." He looked at her, his eyes gentle. "I'm glad I came with you, Nira. Being here with you feels right." Her light shimmered softly. "You make me believe that maybe I was never meant to find someone among my own kind. Maybe the stars wanted me to meet you instead." Liam reached out and took her hand gently. Sometimes the universe brings two hearts together, no matter how far apart they are. Nira looked at their joined hands and felt a warmth she had never known before. Her glow spread through the space around them, blending with the light of the sea. Above them, the sky shimmered with moving stars, and the silver moons rose over the horizon. For Nira, the journey that began with rejection had led her to something more precious than she had ever imagined. That night, as the two of them sat in silence beside the glowing waves, the stars reflected their light onto the water, creating a picture of two beings from different worlds connected by something deeper than words, something that needed no explanation. Days passed peacefully on Lunora. The blue skies shimmered with faint silver lines, and the air carried a soft hum that made everything feel alive. Nira and Liam spent their mornings walking through the floating gardens, and their evenings sitting beside the glowing sea. The warmth between them had grown stronger yet gentle, like light touching water. Nira showed Liam every corner of her world. They visited crystal fields that sang when the wind passed through, and he listened in amazement as the crystals produced melodies that sounded like voices from another realm. They rode soft gliders over glowing forests, where the leaves sparkled with light each time a breeze touched them. Nira told him stories about the spirits that guarded the forest and how her people learned to live in peace with nature. Liam listened to everything with deep interest. Every new sight reminded him that the universe was full of beauty that humans had never seen. Yet even with all those wonders, he found himself looking at Nira more than anything else. She carried light not only in her body but also in her heart. Her laughter had a warmth that reminded him of home. One afternoon, while they sat near the waterfall of light, Nira turned to him and said softly, "You have seen my world, but I know nothing about yours. Tell me about Earth." Liam smiled and began describing the forests, oceans, and the blue sky of his planet. He spoke about rain, snow, and the gentle sound of waves against rocks. Nira listened closely, her eyes shining. When he described sunsets, she smiled. "It sounds beautiful. I want to see it someday." "You will," he said with certainty. "And when you do, I'll be there with you." His words made her glow brighter. She looked toward the sky, where two moons floated side by side. "Do you think your people would accept me?" Liam thought for a moment. Maybe not everyone would understand at first, but the world is changing. People are learning to look beyond differences. When they see your kindness, they'll see what I see. Nira felt comfort in his words. She had once believed she would never belong anywhere. Now she had found someone who saw her not as an alien, but as a friend and companion. Later that night, the city held a festival. Lanterns floated in the air, glowing in many colors. Music filled the streets and laughter echoed across the bridges. The Lumians celebrated the season when their planet's light reached its brightest. It was called the Day of Radiance. Nira and Liam joined the celebration. She wore a soft silver dress that shimmered like the moon, and Liam wore traditional Lumian fabric that matched her glow. They walked hand in hand through the crowd as fireworks of pure light filled the sky. Every spark reflected in Nira's eyes, and she looked at Liam with quiet happiness. "This is my favorite time of year," she said softly. "Everyone celebrates the light that keeps our world alive." Liam smiled. "Then tonight we celebrate your light too." Nira laughed gently. "You always find kind words." As the night went on, the two of them joined others in releasing small glowing orbs into the sky. The orbs floated upward slowly until they became tiny stars among the real ones. Nira watched them rise and whispered, "They say each light carries a wish." "What will you wish for, Liam?" He looked at her with a soft smile. "I already have what I wished for." Her light flickered in surprise. "You mean me?" He nodded. "Yes, you." Her glow warmed, and for a moment neither of them spoke. Around them music continued, but the world felt still. The stars above seemed to watch silently as if they understood the connection between two souls from different worlds. The next morning, Nira's mother invited Liam to stay longer, but he knew his duty on Earth was calling. He had messages from the Human Space Council asking about his return. He sat with Nira near the glowing garden and explained, "I need to go back soon. There are people waiting for my report. They need to know that your world means no harm, and that we can build peace between us." Nira's smile faded slightly, though she tried to hide it. "I understand. You have your responsibilities. The stars do not stay still either. They travel and return." He reached out and held her hands gently. "I promise I'll come back. This isn't goodbye. It's only the start of something new." Her light shimmered softly as she nodded. "Then I will wait for the day I see your ship in the sky again." The following day the ship was ready. Many Lumians gathered to see him off, curious and kind. Nira stood beside the launch pad, her heart filled with mixed feelings. Liam hugged her gently before stepping into the ship. "I'll send a message when I reach Earth," he said. She smiled, though her eyes glowed with deep emotion. "And I'll look for your light in the stars." The engine started and the ship slowly lifted off the ground. The air filled with soft light as it rose higher. Nira watched until the ship disappeared among the stars. Even when it was gone, she kept staring at the sky, whispering a quiet wish that the stars would protect him. Weeks passed. Nira continued her work in the city, helping guide travelers and studying human technology that Liam had shared with her. She missed his presence, but she felt proud knowing he was helping his people understand her kind. She often walked near the glowing sea at night, remembering their talks and his laughter. One night, as she stood there, a flash appeared in the sky. At first she thought it was a comet, but the light grew larger. Her heart raced as she recognized the shape. It was a ship entering Lunora's orbit. She ran toward the landing platform, her glow bright with hope. When the door opened, Liam stepped out smiling. "Did you think I would forget my promise?" Nira's light brightened so much that the whole platform glowed. "You came back. I said I would," he replied warmly. "And this time I'm not leaving so soon." The other Lumians nearby watched with soft smiles as Nira and Liam reunited. The stars above them seemed to shine brighter than ever, as if the universe itself was celebrating their reunion. From that day on, Liam divided his time between Earth and Lunora, helping to build peaceful connections between both worlds. He taught humans about the gentle nature of the Lumians, and Nira helped her people understand the kindness and courage of humans. Together, they became symbols of unity between two distant worlds. Years later, people from many planets would tell stories about the human and the tiny glowing alien who proved that love could cross galaxies. They became legends of peace, hope, and light. Sometimes, when travelers looked up at the night sky, they said they could see two stars glowing close together, one silver and one golden, moving side by side across the darkness. And those who believed whispered that it was Nira and Liam, still traveling together among the stars, their light never fading.